It's your boy Jeremy Speaks, and I'm coming at y'all again today with another video. And this video is going to be none other than a video about SWV and Xscape, the queens of R&B. Now, this is my first time ever really not reacting, but reviewing this show. I ended up missing last week, and I was actually going to end up missing today, but I decided, I drank a lot of hot fluids and stuff to get my throat right because y'all know I just had surgery on Friday. But needless to say, let's get into this, okay? So we picked up where we left off last episode where, Tamika, the Mama Gloria, and Latasha had all met up, to kind of discuss the issues that had happened in the text messages between Tamika and Tasha. Tasha felt that, of course, that Tamika was body shaming her, and Tamika feels that Tasha is literally just blowing things out of proportion and not trying to take responsibility for her acting brand new at the show that ended up getting, shot up. This is my first notification in a while. YouTube be playing. Really? This y'all first notification in a minute? I'm just happy that YouTube giving y'all notifications, child. Now that's what I'm happy about. But let's get into it. So at this point, Tamika has already let the cat off the bag that apparently and allegedly Rocky and Latasha has stole over $30,000 from her from royalties that they have gotten from their music from Xscape, right? Now, the mama has kicked almost everybody outside of her house. She says, "Get out my house. Cameras, get out the house. Cameras, get out the house." She's definitely trying to stop stop whatever this is that's about to spread because she don't want nobody to know that Tasha allegedly has been stealing money from her sister. And it also kind of looks like the mom was in on it too. So I wouldn't be surprised if the mom had, you know, taken a little piece of the change, or Tasha has split it with her mama, right? Now, as the episode, resumes, we are outside now into the mama's driveway. Now, Tamika is getting in the car and her mom is following up behind her saying like, "What is wrong with you? Ain't nobody steal your money." Tamika's like, "They did. You know they did. You know they stole my money." Like, and it's almost like she's crying out for some type of understanding. What I need from you is understanding. But her mom was not trying to hear her. And it really kind of broke my heart because I'm an only child. So I'm not really familiar with what it may feel like to have a sibling that's favored more than but it seems that this is something that has been happening for a while. Her mom knocks on the window as Tamika's getting in the car, and Tamika's daughter Ocean basically lowers the window and she says, "Yes, ma'am." Very respectful young lady. And Tamika mama's like, you need to speak to your mama." And then Tamika's like, "Mama, I gotta go. I gotta go." She's just very emotional. It was a very, very, very tumultuous scene to say the least. To like Tasha's nowhere in sight. Tasha then completely dipped out, went home because she's just trying to evade the IRS at this point because Tamika didn't let the cat off the bag. She got $30,000 that she got to talk about with the IRS. But next scene we see is between thick-headed Rocky and Tasha and her "God is good," love is God, or God is good pullover. It'd be so funny to me how the people who are the most devious always want to throw around God the most. And I hate that for them, you know? So Tasha is basically in the kitchen. Rocky's in the kitchen. They come together. Rocky's asking her, so how did things go last night? And Tasha's saying, it's just a whirlwind right now because at the end of the day, might I add, y'all, I know this might sound a little off topic, but I love these blonde lace fronts on Tasha. Like Tasha looked good in blonde. And her hair really Tasha is a very, very beautiful woman. And it really does hurt me to see that her self-esteem is so low. And you can kind of tell why her self-esteem is so low because she's with somebody who probably diminishes her, then loves bombs her. And somebody who comes into your life and they try to build you up in the moment that you hurt, the moment that you try to leave, or the moment that you try to stand up on your own, that's when they want to diminish you and make you dependent upon them, so where you need them for everything. I wish Tasha could see herself as the way we see her, because I feel like if that was the case, we would have a whole new Tasha. When I look at Tasha, especially in the scene with her talking to Rocky, it really does seem that she's dead on the inside. Like she's empty. Like she has, like, it's nothing there. And I don't and that's something I've always noticed about Tasha, no matter what show she was on. When she was on R&B Divas, I remember she had that same look. Like it's just she just looks miserable all the time. And I don't know if that's just her, or if that is just maybe she's just a little bit more serious. But I feel like a lot of this relates back to Rocky, because Rocky even ruined her stint on R&B Divas Atlanta, because allegedly he pulled a gun out on Nikki Gilbert's husband, right? I don't know if you guys remember that, but it seems that, she's a little empty on the inside. But she begins to tell him about what had transpired last night, and he's just trying to figure out, how did my name get in it? None of that is true because I would never. And you want to know something? It's the enemy who know, and the enemy got to learn when they bring up my name, or when they bring up somebody's names, they got to deal with the consequences. And I'm just sitting here like, the enemy, that's her sister. Like that's somebody, that's her blood. That's somebody who she grew up with, Rocky. What are you talking about? And notice how Rocky never once said that he did not steal her money. You know, I'm trying to be real respectful with this review, y'all. I'm trying to gain my footing and understand how I'm going to walk on these eggshells. But one thing I'm going to tell y'all right now is that Rocky gives me dirty, dingy, homeless energy, and I don't like it. Rocky looks like he's covered in a thin layer of soot and dirt. He just looks dirty. He looks let me see if I can let me see if I can think. Rocky reminds me, if y'all ever seen Hollywood Divas, you know, Paula J. White or Paula J. Parker has a husband who she met on the set of Hustle and Flow. And he looks that same dingy type of way, you know, and I don't know. I don't like him. I don't like him. And it sounded like to me that he was threatening Tamika. I was like, what are you gonna do, Rocky? You can't fight. Her husband will literally obliterate you. What you gonna do? Pull a gun out on him too? It's real tacky. And I'm saying at this point, Tasha, it seems that you don't want your life to go in the direction that it needs to. You could have been so much more than what you could have been. But the thing is, God does not like ugly. God does not like sneaky people, and he does not like liars and backstabbers. And all of that stuff that y'all have said about Candy, about Tamika, that y'all have, said about these people behind their back, not believed in their dreams. God has literally sat you at a dinner table and watched you look at all of the enemies that you made become more prosperous than you, because you have a nasty spirit. The fact that I looked at Candy's speak on it last night, and she apparently with Tiny have brought up the fact that they were going to be executive producing the cat EP, for her and herself, right? And they said that you and your husband basically laughed in their face and said who would allow them to executively produce anything. And then they ended up writing No Scrubs. They ended up writing hits for, Backstreet Boys. I mean, not Backstreet Boys, but, Blackstreet, Destiny's Child. Meanwhile, you still trying to figure out what you were trying to do, what was going to be your next move. Like, that just shows how, like, how life goes. It's certain ways to do things. And I'm saying you can have a solo career, Tasha, because Xscape is not making new music. So at the end of the day, you could have that, but just be honest and open about what you're trying to do. And why not just get two bags? Even back in the 90s, you could have gotten your solo project, then on top of it, still tour with Xscape. And then do both shows, knock out your group stuff, and then do your solo stuff in the same tour. I don't understand why you cannot think that way. Why does it have to be one track minded? It's so late. It reeks of desperation. I want to be the sole one. And I'm just not gonna lie to y'all. I don't think Latasha has the best voice in the group. I've always felt that Tamika, and I'm talking about her sister Tamika Scott, has always had the best voice in the group. And I believe that Tamika's humility and brainwashing from her mom and her sister has made her stifle her own voice even in that group, because Tamika can do every single thing that Tasha can, but better. And I always felt that she probably was able to, but she did not have that confidence about herself, because it was ingrained in her that you're underneath your sister. You're there to support your sister. So if your sister is a lead, you are going to be a background support, because even if you listen to the four of them talk about splitting up the songs, splitting up the solos, Tamika, meaning Tamika Scott, never really cared about that. She just wanted to be a part of it. She never cared about having a solo. She never cared about none of that. She just wanted to sing, period. And that's how humble she is. That's how much humility she has. Even though she has this huge voice, she wasn't out here trying to push everybody to the side so she could be the solely one being heard. She just wanted to be an aid, period. And that's what it's like. And like when you have a good spirit, God, blesses that. And it's so funny to me that Tasha's talking about doing this gospel album, but we'll get into that later. So from this point on, now we're at the next scene. So Candy is talking to Esther. Esther is her assistant. They're getting their charcuterie board ready, for the girls coming over. Apparently, Tiny, Tasha, Tamika, and Candy are all supposed to meet at Candy's house, to kind of discuss some things. Everybody shows up except for Latasha. Candy's asking, Tamika, where is your sister? She says, probably it's because of what happened last night. Apparently, nobody knows what happened last night. So Tamika lets the cat out the bag and says, I ended up letting it slip out that she stole $30,000 from me, and it was because it was too much. I was at my wits end, and I just had to let it out. It was just so much coming at me, and I felt attacked, and I felt like I needed to defend myself. And at this point, she pulls out her phone, right, and she says, "But this is the voicemail that my mama left me this morning." And the mama left this voice message to her, and this is what it sounded like. Tamika, you know you wrong. Where's the God in you? You don't have a lot of God in you. You need to understand your mama and know that you wrong and apologize to your sister. And if I ever catch you out there hanging your sister out there to dry, I'ma ain't won't want nothing stop me from beating your tail. And I know that this is kind of reminiscent of when Mama Joyce called Carmen and pressed her like laundry. But if y'all could see the hurt in Tamika's eyes as she was basically listening to her mom threaten to beat her up over her sister, it really broke my heart because I know what it feels like to to feel sometimes that you don't have your mom's love, or like that your mom does not love you the same way that you may love her, or whatever the case may be. I know what that has felt like in the past. We've worked through it, of course, but I don't know, it just really broke my heart. And at this point, Tamika says, y'all already know all my life I fought for my sister. All my life, I argued for my sister. Whether she was right or wrong, I've been there 10 toes down for my sister. And Candy looking like, yeah, that is true. Because as we all know, Tamika got on the radio years ago and just completely started lying on Candy's like box about who she was sleeping with, what she did, what broke up the group, all in a way to support Latasha. Even though everything that Candy was saying about Latasha was true, Tamika felt that it was necessary for her to defend her sister, even though her sister ruined all of their potential futures by ending Xscape so abruptly to try to front launch a whack solo, career. You know, And at this point, it seems that that Candy and Tiny are laughing, but not because they think that the situation is funny. It's because now Tamika is finally waking up after such and such amount of years. Like, girl, now you finally starting to see what we've been trying to tell you. Your sister got problems, but you was out here trying to attack me, but I ain't the one who ruined your chances. And no telling y'all how many different opportunities Tamika gave up, or Tamika put in limbo because of trying to support her sister. When Candy and Tiny basically basically decided to like go do their own thing, I feel like Tamika definitely could have been a part of that, but because of the stark loyalty that she has towards her sister, she would not want to be a part of anything that Candy and Tiny had going on, because that would be an opposition of her sister, right? So she decided to sit that out. And then they went on to write No Scrubs, which ended up garnering them millions of dollars that they still eating off of to this day. And then Candy went on to write for this artist, write for that artist, write for this artist. When they honestly, the three of them could have continued with Xscape, just the three. Honestly. And I think that now what we're seeing is all of the wheels turning in Tamika's head, because Tamika's now realizing I wasted half my life chasing after the approval of my mom, chasing after approval of my sister, and it's led me nowhere. I have nothing to show for it. All of the opportunities that I gave up, I have nothing to show for it. And she gonna have to learn how to live with that for a while, because she truthfully did forfeit a lot of things that could have went her way, because she could have even tried to push and do her own solo music, because Tamika's voice is insane, y'all. She can do a lot with her voice. I think they can be a trio at this point. People would still support. I know I would. I know I would too. And I would not only just support, but I would come there to listen to how great she can cover to Latasha's verses better than Latasha can. She needs therapy. She's definitely gonna need some therapy. Oh, okay. So, oh yeah, what's up, sipping socialite? This is my first time ever seeing you here. Welcome. Welcome, 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 welcome. Now, the next scene that we go to is between Lily and her sister. So Lily lives in a townhouse in Atlanta. She apparently moved to Atlanta when her mom passed because she wanted to be closer to her mom's grave. Her mom passed sometime in 1996. So she ended up moving there. The sister, I think her name is Jean or something like that, is like the matriarch of the family, right? So Lily basically opens up about how in 1995 and 1996 her mom and her dad passed, and the sister ended up becoming a matriarch and basically cooking and doing all of those things, and how she grew up in poverty, how all of her siblings like were sleeping in a twin size mattress. And when she had first taken off with SWV, the first thing that she bought herself was her own mattress. And it's not nothing new that we haven't heard already. One thing that SWV has done was keep themselves relevant within their own right. I remember SWV had their own show where they basically had a show just like this, where they were basically kind of picking apart the issues that they had and trying to come to some type of resolution, make new albums and stuff like that. And that's why I feel like SWV has been so chill on this show, is because they worked out majority of their issues on the other show. I remember when they had that sit down with that therapist, and Taj and Coco basically had to understand that they had just basically had miscommunication happening since 1992, where apparently Taj was sleeping allegedly with the manager and informing the manager on what was said, and then Coco just taking the words for it, not actually coming and talking to Taj, and that creating a rift, and then Lily being in between the two of them. So they definitely have made leaps and bounds to come to this, this general understanding of who they are and what they love about one another. So I feel like that's why it's so chill amongst them. A lot of people feel that, like, Coco does not like Taj or Lily, but that's definitely not the case. You can see that in Coco's social media. Coco loves her group. Coco loves, they're like sisters. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying it because I've been seeing that. I'm a huge fan of SWV, and I've watched almost all of their spinoffs that they've had, including the one that they had with Salt and Pepper. And I love their sisterhood. One thing they're gonna do is support one another when it comes down to it. Tamika is very relatable to the audience. I mean, yes, Tamika is. And Tamika is a very fun personality. I remember when I saw the Xscape Still Kicking It, like, spinoff that they did years ago. And I thought that Tamika had a very fun personality. And I was trying to figure out why nobody called her to be a part of the Real Housewives yet, or put her on some type of Bravo show, because Tamika has a very big personality. She funny, she cool, she could sing, she interesting. She has a beautiful family, beautiful relationship with her daughters. I would love to see more of Tamika's life. I love the SWV show. They really worked it out. Yes, they did. Yes, they did. And I think a lot of people don't understand what Coco is saying when she says we don't talk about stuff either, but we get on stage and we do what we need to do. I mean, when they have little irritating issues between one another, they're not about to allow that to stifle their success. They're about to go and do what they need to do, but it's not like huge issues that they've had back in the past, because that's been worked out. They actually went to group therapy for that, and that's something that maybe Escape needs to try to do. They have not tried to like talk to a therapist and have somebody intervene in the issues that they've had within the group. And that's why it's still a lot of things getting swept under the rug, hurt that has not been addressed, and then, issues and resentment building up between the four of the people because nobody is addressing it. They just move on. And that's not something that you do. Like, how do you just move on from your sister stealing $30,000 from you? And when you do that, that's how you end up blowing up and bringing it back up because you never really addressed it. And the fact that you never told your husband the fact that you never told your husband that that his sister-in-law stole $30,000 from their household, and he and you have to pay taxes on woo, baby, baby, I'll be 37 high if I found look if I found out we had to pay taxes on money that we never got because of your sister. Oh no, we calling the police. We calling the police. Whoop, whoop. It's the son of the police. It's giving, down on my luck, back against the wind. She was like, Tasha would have definitely been going to jail messing with me. Tasha would have definitely been going to jail messing with me. All right. So now the next scene we go to is between Taj, her husband, and her son. Everybody in Taj family big as hell. I was like, dang, just everybody huge. Taj is huge. And when I mean huge, I mean fat. I mean just tall and muscular. Like, dang, like everybody big. I was like, ooh, child. I was like, the son looked like he about 8 feet tall. The husband looked like he about 9 feet tall. The like Taj looked like she about 6 feet tall. I was like, dang, it's a big ass family. Excuse my language. But they full of love. But like one thing I did notice is that Taj's husband looked at her with so much, admiration when she came through the door. You can tell that they have had like their ups and downs in their relationship, but you can honestly tell that he loves her down and she loves him, and she loves being around her family. And I think that's a really beautiful thing. And it was good to see them, get all caught up. They all sit on the couch, lay down, and talk. And it was so funny because that was a huge couch, but the three of them could barely fit on it. I was like, these are some big muscular people. Oh my goodness. Taj was a model and he was a model and he was a football. Taj was not. I thought Taj was a singer at this point. Was she modeling? I know that Eddie was a football player, but I didn't know that Taj was a model. Who was she modeling for? Who remembered Taj and Eddie's reality show? I enjoyed it. I remember it, but only saw like maybe a handful of episodes about it. I didn't see like a lot of episodes. Um, so at this point, y'all, they're catching up. The son is basically saying how was your trip? Taj is like, it was cool. She was like, have you ever heard of Xscape? And she was like, nah. And so she try to sing a little bit like, what I need from you. And he was like, nope, not ringing a bell. And she was like, you really have not heard of Xscape. Then they flash a scene to Xscape sing a living in vain. And then you hear, nope. Of course not. I was like, that was shady. First and foremost, that was shady. Let's talk about it. Y'all didn't have to do that. But let's move on. So the next scene that we go to is between I want to say Coco and her son and her mom. So Coco is on her way back here to Virginia. So Coco lives in my area, which I did not really know like that. I did not know that she lives like smack dab, real close. So that's really cool to have like, a little, not a little, but like, a star in our city. I didn't really know that. But 63 watching with 28 likes. Child, Ellen, you already know how they do me. You know how they do me. They ain't with it like they, you know how they like to do. We ain't gonna beg. If you like the video, you like the video. Okay. But let's move on. So Coco is saying that she's really happy to be back to the house. She says whenever she's home, she just loves to be around her family. She has a really close relationship with her mama. And she says she always knew that her and her mom would be living underneath one household again. And then she was like, Mama, so have you and your boyfriend been hanging around here? The mama face immediately went from all smiling. She was like, nah, mind your business now. mind your business. She was like, have y'all been humping and have y'all been doing that? and then the son, and Coco just started laughing because the mama is just trying to cover her face because she knows she been out there humping. It's okay, grandma. You gotta get some, you gotta get a little bit of love in yourself. Ain't nobody judging you except the church. Okay. Now we'll mind our business because the last thing we want to think about is Coco mama getting her groove on, but we'll move on to the son. Now the son wants to be a singer. Now I have I'm subscribed to the son's YouTube channel, and I think the son has like a really beautiful tenor voice. And I think that he has a really nice personality too. I'm aware of her other son too that she was talking about. His name is Lil Tracy. He is an emo rapper. I've seen some of his stuff too. It's real cool because I low key think that both of her sons may be LGBT, but just different variations. Whereas I think her son may be Jay. I think Jay may be gay. I think her other son is queer, but I'm not sure where on that spectrum he may lie. But I do know he's somewhere on that spectrum. I can't. I like allegedly, of course. I can't confirm or deny. Anybody's sexuality, but but I do notice that Coco loves her children unconditionally and accepts them for who they are as people and individual personalities. And I think that's really cool because you would imagine that a black mom who is raised in the church, especially a black grandmother as well who's raised in the church, would be very discriminatory against a gay grandson or against an alternative grandson, but they open their hearts and their arms and accept Jalen for who he is. And I just love to see that. When you actually give your child the space and the opportunity to just be themselves and to develop as a person, the love that they have for you is infinite. If like even if you feel what they're doing is a sin, that's fine and all. Let God deal with that. But while they on this earth, it's your job to love and protect and support them. You don't have to like what they do. You don't have to agree with it, but just be quiet and just support. Just give your love and support. That's it. And it's just beautiful to see that Coco's doing that because the normal person wouldn't think that Coco would because of her background. But she loves herself some of her son, and her son loves him. And they all look just alike too. That was crazy. They all look just alike. So the son wants to sing. Now, originally, Coco wanted her son to be a dentist. That's what they had all agreed upon. But her son does not want to go to school. Her son wants to sing. And I'm not against that, but I'm just saying like I come from the mindset of if you ain't working, then you gonna be in school, because I get it that you don't want to go to school. Then what you gonna do for work? I mean, yeah, you can go in the studio and lay some tracks and whatnot, but unless you bringing in some type of income for yourself, then what we doing here? Because you're just not gonna be just solely living off of me and my money. You gonna have to generate some of your own money and some of your own, your own sustenance for yourself. So if I was him, yeah, you can go to school while you're doing all of this stuff. Like you can knock out two birds with one stone. Like you could go and do the album thing, but you have the flexibility of being able to go to school because your mom is Coco and she can afford that. Why not take that and do what you can with it? Because a lot of people cannot afford that. I had to go to the military to go to school. And if I could have went to school to be a dentist, that would have been something I possibly could have been interested in. I would say take advantage of both. Do the music and go to school. And if it don't work out, don't work out. Now I know that Jalen says that he gets anxiety when it comes to him going to school because of him growing up and being bullied. But I just want to let you know, Jalen, that when you go to college, you are really free to be whoever you want to be. Like it's such a progressive, mindset when you're in college. When I was going to school, like after I got out of the military back in 2017, like it was so many different, different types of people, so many archetypes of different characters. It was so many It was just a variety of different people. Nobody just seemed like a sore thumb. Everybody dressed differently, looked differently, acted differently, different backgrounds, sexual orientations, gender identifications. It's so much. I just don't want you, Jalen, to allow your high school or middle school experience to dictate your college experience, because it could be so much more, and you could definitely grow bonds and meet people that you can really vibe with. And I'm just gonna say, take a chance. Me personally. Now let's move on. Now, the next thing that Coco has come a long way with her attitude. Yes, she has, but that's because Coco has let it be known that she suffers from bipolar disorder, and she takes her medication, she does her therapy, and she has gotten the help that she needs. She just doesn't go with it unchecked. Coco has done what she needed to do to make sure that her mental is good, and she knows her ticks. She knows what she needs to do to keep herself in a positive headspace. Coco is doing what she needs to do. When I try to tell y'all I love Coco, and Coco is one of my favorite singers of all times. And when I try to tell y'all Coco is one of my favorite singers, girl, listen, listen. What y'all know? Uh, Baby, when you're around me, you just can't do no wrong. Every way is the right way, cause your love is so strong. Yeah, Coco looks so much. I mean, the last time we saw Coco on that old on their group stuff, she was getting a divorce from her husband, and she wasn't letting nobody know. She was looking very. Coco lost weight. Coco is fit. Coco looked just like she did back in the 90s, and I'm just so happy, y'all. I'm happy. I'm just really happy watching this. I just love seeing Black people in a state of joy. I love that. I love it. I love it. Okay, but so let's move on. Let me move on, okay? Because I don't wanna start fangirling over Coco, because y'all gonna get tired. Y'all gonna get sick of me. Cause especially next episode when Candy try to allude that SWV needs to open for Xscape. Like, girl, what are you talking about? Like, nobody's about to open. SWV is not about to open up for Xscape, girl, and Coco is definitely not about to open up for y'all when she can low key sing better than everybody on the stage combined. That's my personal beliefs. Okay, we're not gonna sit here and play these games. Nobody, no, barely. A lot of people cannot see it for cannot see Coco vocally. If you would have reversed 33 years off of her vocal cords, like if we were to take Coco back to the 90s, none of those girls in Xscape or in her own group or barely any other group could really go with her like that. Coco voice is literally crafted by the gods. I'm not about to sit here and play with y'all. And the fact that Coco from SWV wanted to co-headline shows y'all how much she's changed, because the old Coco would have been like, of course we're gonna be the headliners and y'all gonna open up for us. But Coco was like, so y'all not trying to co-headline? She was already trying to think of it as a joint thing. Coco has come a long way. I love the personal growth that she's shown over the years, y'all. I love Coco. Fight your mama, don't fight me. Okay. Period. So now we're all meeting up at Tiny House. Now, when I say we all, it's solely the Xscape people. We're all meeting up at Tiny House. Now, Tiny got like 5 houses. We meeting at the lake house today. We meeting at the lake house. See, because the penthouse, that was it was 3 days old. So we ain't meeting at the penthouse, and we ain't meeting at the family mansion, because all the kids over there don't want all that racket. And we ain't gonna meet up at the freaky deaky house that's off what you call it, Peach Street. We ain't gonna meet up at that one. We gonna meet up at the lake house, a cool, calm, and quiet place. Okay. We gonna in Vogue can, I don't know. I mean, not really. I don't think in Vogue, not for real, because Maxine and Don's vocals was never that stable. It was never consistent. Like they didn't sound good consistently live. And then Cindy got a cool voice or whatnot, but Terry's voice is very harsh. It's like a foghorn. It's not something that her voice isn't very versatile, you know? If anybody, I think somebody to compare them to would be Brownstone. Brownstone is one of the baddest vocal groups of all time. And if y'all don't know that, y'all tripping. Um, I literally showed my one of my friends Brownstone's Still Climbing album, and it like his mind was blown at the harmonies and the power and the dynamics that they were doing with their vocal arrangements. I'm like, Nikki Gilbert, y'all can hate her as much as y'all want, but Nikki Gilbert in her early 20s back in Brownstone writing these songs like that she was writing, girl, please, please, please. Sipping Socialite, you have not, like, you're saying that because you have not listened to a Brownstone album, and you can't go based on who is more popular. Brownstone vocally is one of the most baddest groups. What are y'all talking about? Even like, and I'm talking about both versions, with the one with Maxi and the one with Monica Dobie. Y'all crazy. Y'all obviously have never heard Baby Love, Kiss and Tell, 5 Miles to Empty, Don't Cry for Me, Around You. Like Brownstone is that girl vocally. And if you put their songs up against anybody's, you can see. Listen, I ain't about to play with y'all. Y'all go play by yourselves, child. But I'm just saying, the songs that Brownstone were singing, I don't think that a lot of other groups could have really sung those songs. And I don't think that En Vogue could have sung those songs. En Vogue was 4 people, and they didn't sound like a full choir like Brownstone did, because those girls were all 3 powerhouse vocalists. Now you can have 4 different lead vocalists, but that don't mean that everybody is a powerhouse vocalist. It just means that everybody has the ability to sing lead. You know what I'm saying? Like, Candy is in a powerhouse. Maxine is in a powerhouse. Cindy really is in a powerhouse. Dawn was kind of a powerhouse, and then Terry was a powerhouse. But like, Terry's voice was not very good on all of the songs. And then Dawn's voice would have been good on all of the songs, but her voice live was not the most consistent. She would have issues singing live sometimes. And then, like, I'm not, this ain't even about, Trinity 5-7. Sister Greg, don't look. One thing Jeremy love is Trinity 5-7. Look, I love me some Angel and Chanel. Listen. Angel and Chanel. I love Trinity 5-7. I think all 3 of the albums in my playlist. I have they have more than 3. It's like Trinity 5-7. It's Trinity 5-7. It's Spiritual Love with a Kiss. Then they have Chanel. Then they have Chanel and Angel, the 4th album. Then they also had a Christmas album. So it's 5 albums that they have. As long as y'all don't claim nobody sings better than Whitney Houston, we're good. Yeah, nobody really touching Nippy. But I can say, Celine Dion and Mariah Carey is a good trio of a vocal fighting between the 3. But I do think that, Whitney Houston is above all of those people. But, let's move on. En Vogue is way better than Coco. I don't know about that, Alicia. We're gonna have to disagree. But let's move on. So Tiny ended up inviting not En Vogue, but Xscape over to her lake mansion. So Tamika gets over there, Candy gets over there. They all talking because apparently Tiny is making some type of rainbow, what you call them? It's like rainbow cocktails, or mimosas, some type of popsicle mimosa. And then, like, they all just look like they're having such a good time. And then, dum, Tasha comes. And Tasha just walks in, don't even say hi to nobody. And she's up there like, oh, hey, family. And everybody just looks like, oh. Tasha's here. Like nobody's ever happy to see Tasha. Like Tasha is a black cloud. But the thing is, she's a black cloud, but Tasha looks so pretty in this scene, y'all. Like, who's ever installing these wigs for her and doing her makeup? Tasha is a beautiful woman. I just hate that I just hate that her spirit is so nasty. Say It is one of my favorite Brownstone songs. I'm going to go back and listen to when I like sipping socialite. What listen when I tell you, go back and listen to Brownstone's second album. And they have a song called Baby Love. The harmonies on that song is you can't these girls could never like what do you girl listen. Brownstone is a beast. That like that group was crafted and put together, well not put together by, but they were signed by MJ, like Michael Jackson. Like don't play with Brownstone. But like so they all decide to sit down, Tasha, Tamika, Tiny, and Candy. And of course, everybody's placating to Latasha. So they say, Latasha, what's on your mind right now? Latasha's like, I'm just trying to hear everybody out. So this is when Candy says, so let's talk about management. So we are thinking that we want to change management so everybody's comfortable and, everybody's feeling what they need to do and, the things like that. And then Candy asks, Tasha, how do you feel about that? And then Tiny asks her, how you feel about that? And then Tasha's like, I'm going to have to pray on it. What? What do you mean pray on it? And then, so at this point, Candy's like, okay, I see how this is going to go. So at this point, Tiny says, so do you and Tamika need to talk? So Tamika's like, yeah, we definitely got things to talk about. You like, would you like to talk about it? And then Latasha's gonna say, no, we don't need to talk here because I got something to do with my mama. And then Tamika's like, you mean our mom? She's not just your mom. You just said your mom. She was like, I just corrected myself. I mean our mom. And apparently she's saying that, Tamika disrespect the mama. Tamika's out here being disrespectful towards the mama. She's not willing to talk. So Latasha ended up getting her things, and Tiny walks her out to the car. And in the car, we can hear, Latasha basically say, I don't care how much money it is. And like until this gets fixed, we ain't doing anything. It needs to be something fixed. And then it goes into confessional. And she's basically saying at this point, she's saying, when it comes to my mom, she needs to fix that. And I can say that as the big sister, fix it. First and foremost, you need to fix her finances, Latasha. Where's her $30,000? See, the thing is, Latasha has spent all of that money on different designer wigs because I ain't never seen Latasha wigs look this good until she got that $30,000. I'm just playing. This is all alleged. We don't know if Latasha took that money or not. I don't know. Look, I ain't say it. Tamika did. I ain't say it. Jeremy ain't say it. All right. So listen, I ain't saying it. But all I'm saying is that I ain't never seen Latasha with an HD lace until the $30,000 was revealed to go into her bank account. Has anybody ever? Because y'all know Latasha used to wear them blunt bang wigs. That you get from the beauty supply store. I remember it like it was yesterday. I ain't never seen Latasha with an HD lace before. Like these wigs that Latasha is wearing, especially in the next scene, child. When she went behind everybody back to go try to get a deal with Motown Gospel, she was wearing her real beautiful soft blonde lace front wig. I was like, see, ooh, child, she looked good. But no, before we get into that though, the next scene that we go to is between Tamika and Taj. Now, Taj is meeting up with Tamika because Tamika is trying to get some advice about, are you saying HD lace? Yes. Have you not been seeing these wigs that Latasha is wearing? These wigs are amazing. Like the lace just melts into her skin. Like Latasha look good. One thing I ain't gonna say is Latasha bad looking, or she don't look. Latasha look good. Latasha looking good. Okay. That's one thing I'm gonna definitely say. But let's move on. So the roots be wrong though. Listen, you can't get it all right. Just all we gotta do. All we gotta do is just dot up. All we gotta do is just bleach the knots. Just bleach the knots. It's just all the knot. That's it. That's all it needs. Just bleach the knots a little bit. Okay. Just bleach the knots. You can tell when Latasha runs out of money because her hair doesn't blend well in those scenes. Mm. Ooh, y'all ain't nice. Y'all better stop. Exactly. Us chocolate girls need a honey blonde, not a bleach blonde. Look, I'm bald headed. I don't know what y'all need, child. I can't relate. She upgraded HD with that 30K. I'm trying to tell you, these wigs that she's wearing, like the wig that she wore to go meet up with Motown, I was like, this is a beautiful wig. I was like, that wig is pretty. But let's move on. So the next scene that we see is between Latasha and her husband. Apparently, it's their anniversary, and they're getting ready to head to Nashville. But they're having like this beautiful romantic, dinner. And now, like, instead of talking about how she wanna lick and stick her man, she busy talking about Candy. So they bringing up like how Candy is jealous, how Candy just has something against her, how she tried to be a friend to Candy, how her and Candy albums were supposed to drop and then hers didn't end up dropping but Candy's did, and then Rocky got Candy name in her mouth, and then Rocky don't know what the word precipice means, and I'm just saying this man don't even know the word precipice, but you've been letting this dude navigate your whole career, child. Y'all, the jokes write themselves at this point, child. Okay, so now what we see is two different scenes that they're piecing together to show y'all two sides of a different story. Two sides of the same story, might I add. So we hear Rocky basically blowing Tasha head up, with with delusions, saying that Candy's jealous. Candy just feels some type of way against her. Mind you, they're not even addressing the fact that the sister didn't accuse them of embezzling $30,000 allegedly. But we gonna just talk about Candy because obviously that's the most important thing to talk about. So Candy meets up with her team, and DJ A1 is basically asking her, so what's the update and the status with SWV, and the Xscape tour? How is that going? And she was like, y'all out here trying to do business, but Latasha out here praying. And Candy's trying her best to remain neutral in this because she already knows that people already want to blame her for all the issues that Xscape has anyway. So at this point, Todd basically starts ministering. Todd says, I think the issue between you and Tasha is that you have the solo career that she did never have, and that she resents you for all your success. And I was like, you better speak. I was like, you better spoke, Todd. You better spoke, Todd. Because that's the truth. That is the truth. Latasha envies and has resentment towards Candy for achieving the things that she was never able to achieve for herself. That is why Tasha don't like Candy. And won't never will. Because Latasha sees herself in competition with Candy and she hates the fact that she needs Candy to remain successful. Because she thought that they were gonna need her. And that's the funny thing about it. But Candy has surfaced as one of the most popular housewives, one of the most famous people from a '90s R&B group that's still relevant to today. You know, and you can definitely see that whatever Todd's saying is true, because Latasha is out here trying to blame an 18, 19-year-old Candy for her, for her album not coming out. Like, Candy ain't got nothing to do with your album not coming out, Latasha. All of that got to do with is Jermaine Dupri, who you really need to check. I always like Todd little freaky. Shan, what are you talking about? We was talking. Now, how did you get to Todd being a freak? That man is married, has some self respect. Okay. I was just real happy to see that Todd wiped some of that Beijing off of his beard that he was wearing on that last episode. Because I was like, baby, this beard is giving, Chef Chef Lawrence from Hustle and Soul. Because like I was like this. Candy won me over when I saw her play Big Brother, but I'm saying though, like, I don't understand why people don't like Candy. I love Candy. I think that she is just such a cool chick, and that she's just so relatable. She's down to earth, and that's why she's a good person. And that's why she gets blessed the way that she does. Is because she does right by people. When you do right by people, God gives that back to you times 10, especially when you're doing it from the kindness of your heart. When you out here just trying to take a dump on people and do this and do that, you'll never gonna get what you deserve. Candy never had to act out of character. Candy always just had to be herself, and people just liked her because she was reasonable, she was honest, she was nice, she was kind, and she was level-headed and grounded. Jeremy Speaks TV. You know she likes to do interviews with YouTubers. You should reach out to her. Maybe in the future. I'm not one to reach out to nobody, honestly. I don't like that. The only thing about Candy is she lets Mama Joyce do whatever, especially how she was treating Todd. I don't like Todd like that, so I don't know. Mama Joyce be having points. Mama Joyce be having some points. I don't know. I don't know. I 100% believe Mama Joyce when she said if something happened to Candy, Todd would take that money and not even try to give none to Riley. Todd was never broke, but Todd was not making money like Candy. Candy came into the relationship making $35 million. Todd was probably making a good 65K, 75K a year. And that's good, for just a normal person. But, for somebody, marrying into somebody who's worth almost, half of $100 million, that's different. I don't look. Maybe it's me, but I don't think Mama Joyce too wrong about Todd. I'm not a big fan of Todd. That's just me personally, but it is what it is. But we're gonna have to move on to the next scene, child. So the next scene that we go to, now we see that Latasha is meeting up with Motown Gospel. They have a sit down. This lady did not tell nobody that she was meeting with these people. She did not tell her group mates that she was out here looking for a deal. She didn't say anything. And it's basically the same thing that she did apparently back in the 90s, where she plays like real stank and nasty. Her attitude gets real nasty and shady. And then she's doing other stuff behind the scenes and not telling nobody. Her husband put her on blast, right? Her husband put her on blast It's up there like, oh, I thought you told him. Girl, no, you didn't. God, like, why are you throwing her under the bus inside of a business meeting, you weirdo? You should have been like, I'm still gonna inform them. You should, because you're the manager, right? You should be the liaison. Is his name Rodney? I thought his name was Rocky. Mama Joyce and her man was in that house where Candy showed Mama Joyce moving out and needed all that work. Yeah, I remember that. So they're asking her, at this point, so what you like, so what makes you want to like do this? Like, why now? She was like, in a group, Latasha's saying like in a group, it's four of us, so you can't really tell your complete honest truth. And I have a lot of things that I want to say, and I have a lot of things I like, I want to get off my chest. So they say, well, what if somebody asks you to sing a little some, in a like, in a business meeting, could you do that? This is when Latasha says, well, I got so much stuff on my mind. I never knew. And then, like, all of a sudden, everybody's just giving her a round of applause, and I'm just sitting here like, I missed it. What we applauded? I was like, what are we applauding? I was like, what are we applauding, bro? Because I don't know. What are we applauding? Because what I just heard, it sounded like she was out of breath. I just want to know, is that just her vocal style? Like, can she just sing notes without runs? Or is like running like a part of her sustaining her singing voice? I don't know. It's just so much about Latasha's voice. I just want to know more about. Like, why does she do these things with her voice? I simply I don't know, but I was not moved by that singing. I was like Tamika would have did it better. Look, I was like Tamika wouldn't have sounded like that. But y'all ain't here for it though. Tamika wouldn't have sounded like that, child. She would have did a little bit better. Okay. Now she says that she gonna have to make her runs are her style. I don't like that. I don't like it. I don't like that style, child. It's sloppy. I don't like her. Not you. Every time I hear Latasha, all I can think about is like Tamika would have did that better. Cause Tamika's voice is everything. I love hearing Tamika sing. I be going on YouTube videos just listening, to her sing around on live and stuff like that. Like Tamika can really blow. Tasha proclaims to be the voice of Xscape. She is not. The way that Coco is the voice of. Well, that's because Coco was the lead singer of SWV, and like that's a known thing. And Coco's voice is very distinct. And Xscape does not have a voice of Xscape. If there's four people sharing leads, especially you can't be the voice of Xscape if Candy is singing majority of the leads anyway. So I don't get that. Okay. Every man wants a woman. Is the voice. Like that is very true, and that's something else that I've noticed that Candy also said in her speak on it. She said that her voice is very distinctive, and anytime that they had to do backgrounds for Xscape, they turned her background vocals up. I love Tamika's version of "Go Outside in the Rain." Me too. Let me stop lying. I never heard of it, but I just know I love Tamika's version more. I never heard of it. I never heard it yet. I'm gonna look for it though. Mama G plus Rocky giving abusive behavior spiritually, emotionally, psychological, and emotionally. Like what is wrong with me? Spiritual, emotion, psychological, and you gotta put an E on at the E on some of this stuff. Letitia, like in the court. I don't I ain't got nothing to say about that. Like the. Oh, and they both got the last name Scott. I just wow. Wow. Oh my god. I never noticed that. Y'all, does it not is it not a key to y'all that Candy is the tallest member of Xscape? Is that not a key? Isn't that crazy? Candy is really the tallest member of Xscape. I be really gagging at that. Cause Candy is like 5'1". Like, how tall is these Xscape ladies? Oh, so wait. Yeah, Candy is very short. Yeah, Candy is short as hell, but like the rest of the ladies in Xscape are shorter than Candy. I was like, wait a minute. Not Candy, the tallest one. Like, that's crazy to me. You telling me I share a birthday with Letitia? Look, y'all, this is not look that this is not that. Do not bring those people though. Do not bring those melanomas over here. I ain't got no time for it. I don't play these games. Y'all already know. Mm-mm. I know Tiny is shorter. She's shorter than Ti. Is she shorter than Ti though? You know, y'all know Ti be wearing them church heels. So at the end of the day, he could come across a little bit taller. But but like, yeah, y'all, that was really the end. So we find out that Latasha didn't tell nobody that she's doing this. She's really excited. She sung a song. That was a song that I did not like. And that was it, child. I guess we gonna see how Candy get cussed out by Coco next episode. Ooh, child, Candy gonna get cussed out. I can't wait to hear. Candy, you know you wrong. You should have never ever said that. Talking about y'all trying to keep the top billing. Girl, you crazy. Don't play with SWV. When they just literally was in Africa and got paid over $150,000 just for that one. Girl, don't play. Do not play with SWV. SWV was a bigger group too. Like, let's be real. The only reason that Xscape is getting all of the accolades that they're getting right now is only because of Candy and Tiny. Like, if Candy and Tiny did not gain notoriety through reality television and through their own ventures, nobody would care about Xscape. Xscape would be just another girl group that just fizzled out in the 90s. But because of the relevance of Candy and Tiny, they have achieved some type of level of relevancy. But let's not get anything misconstrued. SWV sold more. So let's do it like this. There were four girl groups who were really hitting like that. It was TLC, right? It was In Vogue, right? It was Destiny's Child, and then it was SWV. It was like nowhere outside of those, like I'm saying, outside of those four, you could have debated between Xscape, but SWV was in the top four girl groups of the 90s. Like, and I'm gonna need Candy to stop playing. Just because you're relevant because of Housewives does not mean in any way, shape, or form that Xscape is more sought after than SWV. So I don't know. 702 702 never really sold like that though. They didn't really have as many hits. I love 702 though, especially because they from my hometown. Tamar, Evelyn, and Nivea shows come out today. I'm not supporting anything with Evelyn in it, and I don't like Tamar anymore. I used to be a huge Tamar Braxton fan, but I don't really see it for Tamar like that. No shade. SWV was a complete package. Exactly. I'm just saying, like, When I'm saying I'm saying the top four selling black female girl groups of the 90s would be Destiny's Child, TLC, um Destiny's Child, In Vogue, TLC, and SWV. Those four. I'm not saying that, in the midst of the 90s, we know that was not the case, but I'm saying like the people who sold the most records are those four groups. Like we all know that SWV has more hits than Xscape. Child, I would have loved if TLC was a part of this show too. But the way that T-Boz ain't got no time for us playing these games, T-Boz is not out here trying to play. Okay, T-Boz said, "I am tired. I have no time to be fighting." She is not here with the reality TV show antics of it all. You now wait, don't get it twisted. You can listen. You can listen to a full Escape album too now. And I love me some Xscape. I just don't. I just know I love SWV more, and that's because I love Coco's voice more. Like Coco's voice, like use your heart, not your eyes. Oh, I had traces of my. I love traces of my lipstick. That's my. I think that's my favorite album by them, honestly. But y'all, listen. I think that's the end of this. I'm going to try to make sure I'm doing more reviews, okay? So I'm probably gonna do a review for Life After Lockup this upcoming episode, and then I'm gonna make sure I do another review for this as well, okay? Softest Place on Earth is my stuff. I love that song. Me Too ain't nothing like Coco voice. Exactly. Like it's this song, y'all. It's this song with SWV and Babyface called Slow Jams. Oh my god, Coco's voice is just so beautiful. And it just does something to me. It's just so she has so much resonance in her voice. Her voice is just and she could just and she was just able to just do anything with it. It was just it's just beautiful. Oh my god. Mm. Don't get me started to to fangirling again, y'all. I love Coco. I love SWV, and I'm Team Coco for life. Okay, and I don't care what nobody got to say. I'd rather hear Coco's voice, from the '90s more than any girl from Xscape in the '90s. Like if we were to like reverse all these women's ages to 20 years old, I would go see an Xscape. Not an Xscape, but an SWV concert before I go see an Xscape one. I'm just gonna be real with you, because I would love to hear Coco blow those songs with that crisp soprano like she was able to do. Girl, please. But y'all, I gotta go. Okay. Um, my friend is live. Everybody, let's go head over to Chef Don Nun's channel. I love every single one of y'all. I want y'all to know that you guys are beautiful, that you guys are loved, that you guys deserve to be here. Understand that. Understand that your life has purpose, that your life has meaning, and that you're loved and you're cared about. And nobody told y'all that. I told you today, okay? I love every single one of y'all. And don't y'all ever forget that. Period. Okay? Look, don't make me uh, don't make me repeat myself. Okay. I hate to have to pull out the belt on y'all. Okay. So you guys have a beautiful, beautiful rest of y'all day. And I definitely plan on doing the same, you guys. Okay. Peace.